it's my task to introduce, and hopefully with the approval of this very important Congress of the Socialist Party, the document that you have before you on British perspectives and tasks, which also, I would say, deals in a kind of shortened manner with perspectives, particularly in the economy, from a Wales point of view. If I'm not mistaken, this document has been discussed, perhaps more seriously and to a greater extent than in previous Congress pre-discussion meetings and so on. And the discussion has demonstrated that there is a fundamental agreement with the perspectives that have been mapped out. There are a few amendments. I won't comment on them at the moment. It will be done later on in the course of the discussion and the reply, but most of those amendments are of a textual character. And that indicates that we have broad agreement in what is, after all, a very important period that we're going into, not an easy period, a period in which we have to try and get to grips with complex processes that are taking place throughout world capitalism, in British capitalism, and how that affects the struggles of working class people. Now, I'd start off my contribution in a rather unusual way by quoting the great scientist Einstein. And he made quite a surprising point when he was asked, what is the most important attribute of a scientist? And he said the following: imagination is everything. It is the preview of life's coming attractions. He went on to say, imagination is more important than knowledge. Not that Einstein discarded facts, discarded knowledge, but you had to draw conclusions from those facts in an imaginative way in order to envisage physical, scientific processes as they develop. I would suggest to you that Marxism, Trotskyism, and this party has to have a similar approach towards the developments that are taking place at the present time. Karl Marx had imagination in abundance. Yes, he analysed the laws and the developments of capitalism and the objective factors in the developments of capitalism. But he also drew out the laws of capitalism, of booms, of slumps, of the contradictions of capitalism, and also how that affects the movement of the working class with the imagination that we must have to envisage the way the working class, under the hammer blows of events, will develop. It's easy when the working class is moving. Much more difficult is the period we've gone through in the 1990s and the earlier part of this century, when the working class did not appear to move. This party, our International and CWI, stood firm in defence of the idea that the working class will move, and move splendidly in the course of the movement itself. This idea has been so confirmed that it's not possible now to open even the serious journals of capitalism without finding the grudging confirmation of Marx and of Marxism. This is an article in the Independent that I commented on in the paper. As capitalism stares into the abyss, was Marx right all along? And by the way, the conclusion of Stephen King, the economics editor of a major bank, HSBC, is actually, well, maybe, Karl Marx was right all along. That was followed by an item in the Observer by a man I always read, a Keynesian, William Keegan, who had an article in which he said Marx would say we're doomed. But the credit system must be low. It's not a very, very full-hearted defence of capitalism, is it? In fact, I thought in one moment, maybe we should send these gentlemen a recruitment form for the Socialist Party. And then if I had any doubts on that score, look at what's taking place this week. I've been woken twice this week, very early, because my daughter gets up, my eldest daughter, who's not present at this conference today, saying that you're on the front page of the Financial Times, even before I've got a copy. And of course I open the Financial Times, and the Socialist is on the front page of the Financial Times. No more killings, not our paper, but the paper of our sister organisation in Northern Ireland. Then incredibly I was woken again yesterday, and even he didn't know this before he came into the meeting today, by the exclamation of my daughter that you have a letter, not me personally, you have a letter on the letters pages of the Financial Times defending central planning. And incredibly, Jared Wood has a very good letter, I didn't know that by the way, which shows how inattentive he is to the Financial Times. He had a very good letter in the Financial Times yesterday. And it's quite incredible that they're carrying this material. Maybe they were affected that it was from the Aylesbury Socialist Party. Thinking, well, that's not much danger. On the other hand, it might be, well, if they've got people in Aylesbury, how long is it before they circle London and they're at the gates of Whitehall itself? And on top of that, the icing on the cake, to use a cliche, last night, Paul Morehouse came second in Mastermind on Trotsky's speech. He won it, sorry. He told me he came second, they changed the rules. What marvellous talent we have in the Socialist Party, and what a confirmation of the ideas of Marxism and even of Trotskyism. I would have preferred, by the way, if you would have gone on the lottery, and maybe we would have been not just ideologically richer, but materially richer as a party at the present time. Comrades, in the course of the 1990s, the gods as they were, Alan Greenspan was praised left, right and centre. In fact, John McCain, the right-wing Republican candidate, in the last presidential elections in the US, wrote the following a couple of years ago. He said that if Alan Greenspan, who was then the chairman of the Federal Reserve Bank of America, would die, I would prop him up and put a pair of dark spectacles on him. It's the kind of El Cid option, if you like, to maintain the kind of authority of this genius of world capitalism. Now, this El Cid, not yet dead, but almost would be, on the basis of the falsification of his predictions, this El Cid has now declared his disbelief in the developments of world capitalism in the past period. He's even apologised. This Damascene conversion against neoliberal, unregulated capitalism, not against neoliberalism itself, has led to Greenspan being dubbed by Paul Krugman, a Keynesian economist, as Comrade Greenspan, because now he of course stands for the temporary nationalisation of the banks in the US itself. This method, the imagination that went with it, the method of Marxism and of Trotskyism, allowed us to predict, actually with uncanny accuracy, the developments that are unfolding in Britain